When life throws you a curveball, how are you going to handle adversity? Welcome to the Fearless Mindset Podcast, where you're about to go on a journey as I interview security, business, and entertainment leaders on what it takes to stay fearless. I'm your host, Mark Ledlow, and enjoy today's episode. Well, hello, folks. Thanks for joining us in. This is Mark Ledlow, your host of the Fearless Mindset Podcast. And today we have a new guest, never been on the show. And Chris joins us from South Florida, somewhere in the hot, humid, miserable Florida, where he's hanging out at his home office with, he's got the Marine thing in the background. So he's a fellow devil dog as well. Yep, there it is. They got the battalion picture there. Yeah, so we got a little history there, little museum.
Yeah.
But thanks, Chris, for making the time out. Yeah, congratulations on the conference you guys had with Kimberly out there. I heard it went well.
Yeah, it was wonderful. What a trip.
This is the third conference they had out there, right, or something like that?
It's our third conference. This was the first that is in person. The last two were virtual because of the post-COVID stuff.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Hey, my good friend was out there giving a talk too, so shout out to him. Wayne that was out there.
Oh, yeah.
Wayne and the team. So shout out to those guys, good friends of us. And yeah, congratulations, on your success being a first Marine, running a business out there. Hoorah. And, you wouldn't think if you're a Naughty, you probably, if you're Air Force, your Navy, you're probably jealous, I'm thinking, because he actually runs a company. So throw a little dirt to the military folks out there. And I'm sure he uses probably a smartphone and not crayons. So for you Army guys, Army dogs out there, I'm just poking jokes. But I think it's fascinating. You were in the Marine Corps, and then somehow you ended up in South Florida, where this whole boom's going on right now. I heard it's just as bad as living in Southern California now with the traffic. All the prices of real estate exploded.
It's definitely, I think we've seen our peak. We still have a huge influx of people coming in. It's paradise. There's great rules here. There's great governors here. There's great society here. There's freedom here. And people like freedom, even if they don't want to admit it. And they come to our state. And when you leave California and you come to Florida, you're automatically a millionaire because there's not that many taxes and your dollar goes a lot farther. So you can consume a lot more land and a lot more atmosphere. And you don't have to worry about climate change here as much.
Being direct.
And but seriously, there's been an enormous amount of wealth migrating to Florida. When you're in the estate management, property management, home watch industry, it's great because people come here and they recognize that this is a great place. But as soon as summer hits, it's like, whoa, we got to go back up north. We got to go back out west. So it's a great place to be a property manager, estate manager, and do home watch, which is what MCM Estate Services is all about.
So do you guys see people from all over the world settling roots down there, headquarters down there from globally? Is that kind of what you're seeing in South Florida now?
Yeah, there's some really big players who have moved their entire corporations down here. Some of my clients actually moved from New York post-COVID, and they're multi-billionaires with their entire teams have moved down. Some plus the 200 employees. Are buying homes down here to work and reside if they chose to stay with that company. A lot of them are closing their offices in New York and moving down here because of the rent issues, the taxes, so many other things that play into that, and some of the laws that are being passed there. I can't speak on every single aspect of them, but I kind of overhear the conversations, and a lot of them just want to be, to enjoy their time without worry and, being able to go out in the street. And, one lady says she doesn't want to go back anymore because the dog walker can't take her dog out safely. So,
wow.
She's worried about the dog walker.
Dog walker. Yeah, you hope the dog bites.
Yeah. But we've seen people from South America, a lot of Europeans here, A lot of West Coasters here. I can't say the mid states. I can't say I have any Wyoming or Missouri or Indiana clients, but there's definitely a lot of international and a lot of, I would say, the outskirts of the states moving here.
Would you say it's becoming more tech-centric, entertainment-centric, or everything-centric?
I would definitely say everything-centric. I do see a lot of growth in these developers, as far as like the people who are making changes. Like there's a lot of the who could be a good Kenny Griffin, for a matter of fact. He moved his business from Chicago to Miami. And, we all know he's a multi-billionaire. He's actually building $1 billion house as we speak in Palm Beach Island, just south of Mar-a-Lago. But he moved his whole firm here. They're getting away from all of these highly overly regulated states. As far as the tech and the silicone section, I can't say, but I do know that there's a lot of individuals that have moved out here. Like I know personally some Californians that have moved here, built gigantic homes on the waterfront, bought large properties in the States. I can't tell you what they do.
Of course not. NDAs, right?
Yeah. I can't tell you who they are, but sure. I can tell you I personally know a handful that have moved from California, and one specifically from the slick silicon.
Right. So that's you raised an important point, Chris, because in your business, you sign NDAs with all these folks, just like we do in the executive protection industry. Correct. You sign non-disclosure and non-compete agreement, non-solicitation, all that type of stuff. Mm-hmm. And that's just building the trust with these high net worth families. That's how it goes.
Yeah, that's right. All of our guys have to do that too. It's not just me. It's everyone who works under me, every vendor. I was just interviewing maids for a client today. They'll never know the client's name. They're technically being hired by MCM Estate Services for that client. Yeah. They'll send the invoices. I'll submit them for payment. But basically, they don't ever interact with the client or know who they are sometimes.
So explain. So are you in Fort Lauderdale, Miami area, Palm Beach area? Where are you?
Palm Beach, yeah. Our hub is Palm Beach. We have clients from Hutchinson Island all the way down to Miami Beach.
Wow. Okay.
So it's a good over maybe 200-mile stretch.
That's a lot of folks. That's a lot of people. And walk the audience in, the ones that maybe they're getting out of the military, maybe they're getting out of law enforcement or something, or maybe it's just a housewife wants to do something different. How easy is it to break in estate management type of work? Is it pretty, you guys control your territories and you build a brand, and that big brand creates a olive branch of trust? Is that kind of how it goes, and people just trust you to give you their information? You just don't walk in this type of industry. It's I'm assuming, very protected.
It is, unless you know somebody,
right.
Which is most cases. So, my story is kind of different because I wasn't going to be in this industry. I had no plans to be in this industry. I didn't even know the industry existed.
Wow.
I had a company called High End Handyman. We did handyman work, and we were on Angie's List. This is quite some time when it was still called Angie's List and not Angie. And one of the very influential clients found me through Angie's List, interviewed me at her property. And when I Googled the address, I was like, oh my gosh, this is like a museum. This place is huge. I'd never been to a house this big. And I'm sitting in this formal living room waiting for her. I'm expecting like the president to walk out or something. I mean, the place was just massive. And I'm thinking, she wants to hire me. I don't even know how to speak to this kind of person. We had a very nice conversation, and I did some work for her over the summer. She was very happy with our team's work, and we kind of went back and forth with negotiations, and finally I went to work with her full time as her caretaker, and I started just washing windows, picking up dog poop, raking sand on the beach, setting up the umbrellas, the furniture, prepping the house for hurricanes and seasonal adjustments and visitors and gas in the cars, whatever the need was. And then after 2 years of doing that, I got promoted to estate manager and took over for the former estate manager who was my mentor, and the rest is history. So my avenue wasn't to become an estate manager, but I just kind of fell into this industry. As far as someone else being out there looking to get into it, the best thing to do would be to connect with people like myself, find mentors in the industry, find someone who is doing what you want, reach out to them, and they can help coach you and mentor you through that process. There's a lot of agencies out there, but generally they won't talk to you unless you have 3 to 5 years experience. And with that, it's difficult to get the experience unless you get hired. So it's kind of a catch-22. You could have all the skills and all the abilities, but unless you find someone to invest in you and believe in you, it's going to be difficult to enter into that industry.
It makes sense. How many years have you been self-employed now?
Gosh, not even a year.
Not even a year?
Yeah, so while I was growing my business, I was a full-time estate manager with individual families.
No kidding. Wow.
That was over the past 10 years, I've worked with individual families up to 30 hours a week while building the MCM industry, if you will, or dynasty on the side.
Sure.
And January this year, I'm happy to say, I ended my contract with one of the big clients and full-fledged went out on our own as MCM Estate Services.
Congratulations, brother. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Now, here's a real question. Running a business, is it what you thought it would be, being a Marine Corps background?
It is, yes, because I'm the drill instructor this time. I'm in charge.
Smokey the Bear, where's your Smokey the Bear hat?
Yeah, I got the yellow handprint on the wall outside my office.
So I think entrepreneurs, you discover you're an entrepreneur and you discover you don't want to have a boss. But you really do have a boss. It's the client that writes the check.
Correct. Yeah, I still have clients, and I respect them all as if they're my supervisor or general manager. I treat them all with respect. I can walk at any time, which is nice because if a client is not willing to pay or they really upset you or you have an issue, you're not married to that client as your sole source of income, which is what a lot of people end up in, where they're just at that point where if they walk away, then might be some financial issues or stress. But when you get to the point where you can pick and choose your clients, that's when you get into a really healthy, comfortable spot.
And it takes, like you said, it takes a long while to earn that trust of those clients. And I imagine this industry is like word of mouth, right? More word of mouth than anything else.
It is. Yeah, we haven't, outside of doing LinkedIn posts, I haven't advertised. I don't market. We have our shirts and we have our business cards. We just network, and when a client likes you, they tell their friends. It's just like you go to a fine restaurant. What do? Oh my gosh, you got to try this new place, and then they go there. Then they tell their friends, and next thing you know, the place is just jam packed. So
it's such an industry that you and I are both in. It's all about word of mouth. I mean, I got people call me from the East Coast that I trained with in my 30s.
Wow.
Guy randomly called me from New York, and he goes, "Hey, Mark, are you still in the West Coast?" I'm like, "Yep, still here." He goes, "Hey, I got a client out there. Where are you?" Like I told him, he goes, "We got to talk to my client." He goes, "How well do you know this guy?" "I trained him in his 30s. Wow. Oh, okay, fair enough. It's all about relationships. It's all about trust. It's all about knowing somebody. That's how business works.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that because I love networking, and I think it's very important to network and get your name out in front of people and what you do. And I literally got a client just about 9 months ago from someone I met over a year ago.
Wow.
I met her. I was at a one-on-one meeting with another individual, and she just happened to walk by and meet him. He introduced us. We exchanged cards, and then an entire year went by, and she called me up and said, "Aren't you on Jupiter Island?" I said, "Yes, I am." She says, "I remember that." And I'm like, "Who is this?"
Who is this?
She says, "We met over at the Honor Bar with Landon. We thought about it." I'm like, "Oh, how are you? How you been?" She says, "I got a client for you." I'm like, "Great."
Wow.
For the past 9 months now.
Yeah, it shows if you do a good job, make that first impression without trying to hustle them or close them right then and there.
Correct.
When they need you, they call you, right?
Exactly right. Yeah.
It's like I think there's a lot of people trying to do hard sell or cold calling almost in the industry right now. It doesn't work that way. You got to cultivate a relationship first, build that rapport.
Yeah, and it takes time, and that's what's hard. That putting in the time, sowing the seed. I was at a networking event today with one of my associates, and there was a room full of 100 people, and I said, in our industry, we're like farmers, and right now we're plowing the field. We haven't even started sowing the seeds yet. We're just plowing the field. There's 100 individuals to get in touch with, to interact with, and now then we start sowing the seeds. And after we start sowing the seeds, then we start to harvest.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly right. That's business 101, folks. And I think I see people cold calling me on LinkedIn now, and I'm like, who are you? It's like 25 a day on LinkedIn. I'm like, I don't know you. I've not been introduced to you. If somebody emails me, gives me an introduction, that's different. So I think a lot of folks are just trying to close a deal via LinkedIn. I'm like, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, LinkedIn's hard. I mean, my purpose of LinkedIn is output, not input. But I've actually gotten 2 clients off of connections on LinkedIn. But because I'm consistent, I'm posting. I post about the same thing. I don't post about, spring equinox or what the tide is today or what month we're celebrating this. I post about my business, what we do day in and day out, and then, some motivational and inspirational entrepreneurial concepts. And that's really about it. And that's what I just focus on.
Yeah, that's great content. I think it's changed over the last year. I know the algorithms have really tightened up lately because everybody seems to be getting on it. I think everybody was on Clubhouse for the longest time during the pandemic. Now you're seeing all those people that were on Clubhouse coming on LinkedIn, and it's kind of flooding it. It's like, what the heck is this? Or Facebook,
there's a lot of unnecessary content, and there's a lot of people that try to use it for social media platform and their opinions and their, positions on, political things. And to me, it's just a place. It's a virtual network that I really like, and it's my live resume out there for whoever wants to see what we're doing.
That's right. Now, here's a question regarding the industry. There's high net worth families all over the world. I mean, there's billionaires, there's trillionaires that we don't even know that exist. And what you do is so critical because those high net worth families, they don't want to, they want someone else to manage their time, not manage their time, but help them with their daily affairs. And that's kind of what you do. You're a supporting role, a cast crew, basically, for that estate. Right. Can you take us in a day in the life of your role with your team? What does it look like in just a one day type of situation?
Well, so every day is extremely different. Today I went to a client's house in the pool last night, and we're putting pool lines in because it's a lap pool. So immediately I show up, we're supposed to lay out the lines for the client, FaceTime them as they're away. And of course, as soon as I show up, the guy's chiseling out the bottom of the pool, installing the tiles. That was not what was supposed to happen. We all had a meeting yesterday. We had a conversation this morning, and we were supposed to FaceTime the client to verify that he is indeed, and his wife are indeed accepting the layout as discussed. They gave us a plan. We're to implement that plan. They wanted to validate that plan and verify that plan through MCM that is being enacted the way that they desire it to be. And here, the guy started doing something. Fortunately, it was laid out properly. The client agreed to it, signed off on it, and all was saved. But that's where that oversight comes in, is because, had the guy laid out 15 or 20 tiles and they were wrong, oh my gosh, it would have been a major catastrophe. I have another client. We were doing oversight for a hot water heater for the pool, a heater for the pool. Well, the pool guy decided that he wanted to send in his repair guy to fix it. So the bill goes to the client. The client gets this bill for, not a lot of money, but $550. What is this bill for? We're like, we have no idea. So after some research, we find out that the pool guy is trying to be the property manager. So he was quickly terminated.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
50 wasn't paid, and we now got the part under warranty that he was trying to charge them for, and we paid $175 for installation fees. So these are the things that we protect our clients for, we watch out for. We have knowledge and understanding on how to maneuver through these things. Yesterday was also a crazy day. We did a birthday party for a 1-year-old granddaughter for one of our clients. So we set up tables. We made sure the catering was set up, that the blow-up mermaid and the blow-up seahorse were in place by the balloon people. The caterers came in, they did all their thing. We cleaned up, we got everything out of there. Kids had 2 bounce houses set up with a splash pool, all the tents. So, I mean, every day is completely different. Clients, a lot of clients, some of our clients are elderly, so we're validating contracts, we're validating the invoices, making sure that the work was done prior to the bills being paid, and they're not just marking it up because of the zip code. So every day is such a unique day, and when you have 5 guys out there working for, the very wealthy individuals, you just never know what the day's going to be. Some of our odd things is babysit the dog. Can you come over and take the dog for a walk? It's like, that's not what we do, but if we're called, that's what we do. We've gone to grocery shop for clients. We've gone to get specialty items for clients. We've gone for Mr. to get Christmas gifts for Mrs. and vice versa. We purchased cars for clients, booked yachts for clients, vacations for clients. There's no no in MCM.
Dang, one-stop shop.
There might be let me get back to you on that, but we figure it out, we sort it out, and we make it happen, and we love to deliver. That's one of the things we love to deliver for our clients, and we make their life special because we do what they don't want to do. All the minutia of the day-to-day activities, whether it's paying bills, answering phone calls, sorting emails, handling the staff, making sure everyone's on direction, the refrigerator's full, dog's got water in the bowl, whatever it is, you name it.
It sounds like it runs 24/7 with or without you.
Yeah, it does. The need never stops. It's just managing the need to when you're on site. Obviously we're not hanging out on midnight at client's house, but we've had parties where we've been there till 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, and we're making sure that everything is taken care of. So when they wake up the next day, all they got to do is go back to their normal life. I mean, they're in bed at 10. We're still working here at 2 to get the house in order for the next day.
I know like some corporations, security-wise, they have global security operations centers, right? Now, that's going 24/7. How do you, as a business owner running an estate management company, keep it going? Do you have people working shift calls? Do you have supervisor on shift at duty at night to answer the phone calls, or it's you?
It's to me. My phone is never off. It's on my bed. It's on vibrate, but it's never off because you get that one-off call where there's water coming from the attic on the 3rd floor.
Wow.
The 1st floor, it's millions of dollars worth of damage. The last time we've had a water leak was last Thanksgiving. Yeah. So it doesn't happen that frequently, and that's when you have a good property management company constantly checking these mechanics, these systems that are in the attic, water heaters that are in the attic, and all the other stuff that goes on with those things. If you have a good maintenance program, it's less likely to happen, but when the accidents do happen, we also have great vendors on standby to deal with those mitigation issues.
So your maintenance, your facilities, your concierge, the butler, the dog walker, the kids want dessert at Red Robin, or they want dessert at Baskin Robbins, so you go get the grandkids. It's just, you do it all.
Correct, except for security.
Yeah, that's where we come in.
Yeah, but I mean, I did at a time when I first started working with my first client. I went and got my D and my G license.
Good.
Being a former Marine.
Yeah.
And I was very shocked that they didn't have security. They didn't want security, but I mean, we had presidential candidates coming to the house and senators flying in. There was 4 or 5 times the Secret Service came through to do a walkthrough in preparation for the Speaker of the House to come over. So, we did have a lot of need for security, but they felt they didn't need security. But I was always backing.
There you go. There you go. There's a solution, right?
Exactly. Yep. Very concealed, very well, but still, I was never, especially when I took them out, because they were a high-profile family.
Yeah.
And I just would hate anything ever to happen to them when it could have been prevented.
Here's a question. Do you see them less interested in paying having security just because they want their privacy and live their life like normal? And they don't want that infringement on their private life? Is that kind of what's going on out there? Like, I'm hearing it's kind of slowing down for the demand for executive protection and security details. I'm thinking they're just cutting budgets too, watching their spending right now this time of year.
Yeah, I also think there's so many millionaires now, they don't feel like they're going to be robbed anymore. But what I gathered is the VIPs, I think, kind of know that they need it. And then the other people who are super wealthy just hope they don't need it. And in my position, I think there should always be some discussion about it. I've had some clients that, maybe did some things and said some things that may have been instrumental to causing political unrest in our country and other places.
Sure.
Also, some other type of social movements that have been started by certain individuals who, went into a panic and a security frenzy. So they went from nothing to cameras, security guards at the gate, buzzing people in, buzzing people out, nobody allowed in the house, unescorted. And then after the proposed threat diminished, went right back to nothing. So you get those, oh my gosh, I gotta get security, and then all of a sudden they don't want it. But I think the super uber high wealth, like the Elon Musks and the Warren Buffetts, I think they need to have that just for their own sake of sanity,
Because you're talking about two different types of wealth. You're talking about, like you said, uber wealth is probably the top 1% of the world's wealth. They definitely need it because their faces are all over the social media. Yeah. And then you're talking about the guys and gals that are worth hundreds of millions. They just I'm not going to spend $1 million on security a year. It's just, I don't see the need. So that's a good breakdown explanation of that.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I think some people, if they're not going to get personally trained in self-defense or how to protect their family, then they should have some type of security presence. If it's just a patrol car or just someone from your company passing by at a weird hour of the night, preventative, I think, is better than reactive. Right.
I'm hearing a lot of them are cutting back. A lot of even Silicon Valley, I'm hearing they're all cutting back. They used to have, 2 a shift, 2 night shift, 2 day shift, and they're cutting back to 1-on-1. They're just, they're cutting back on their budgets too.
Right.
So that's an ongoing thing. So what do you see the trends that are happening right now with that whole, that whole population group? Is there more money being created because of the new technology and commerce and technology? Is that continue growing where people are just becoming super wealthy?
Yeah, I noticed that more of the new money is the under 40 money, whereas when I first got in the industry in 2014, it was over 60. So there's definitely been a diverse change. Not for me.
Sure. Yeah.
But you've seen where more of the people who are wealthy now just want the services as opposed to the full-time staff. So they want someone to come in, fix things, and then be gone. They don't want you lingering around all day and waiting for the bell to ring and the bottle of water to be brought out. They just want all their systems to work, their TVs, their internet, security to work, cameras to work, and, the appliances, and of course the AC. And then if that's working, they just call you when there's a need. They might put us on like a weekly visit where we just pass through and check on things, or we're on standby. I get a text, come over, I got a problem with this. They're not looking for that butler staff, that estate manager staff, the four housekeepers, they kind of want to just enjoy their homes and enjoy their day-to-day activities without the influx of vendors fixing things and the maids vacuuming and the landscapers blowing the lawn. They're becoming minimalist in maybe not the size of the home, but in the activity in the home that's not family.
So they really don't value, well, put it this way, it sounds like they just don't want to have their privacy invaded by strange people.
Yeah, I think some of them don't know about the fact that the estate managers, property managers are in existence. They think that, we just have a house, something breaks, we call someone. They're not really trained or understanding the fact that we need to have a preventive maintenance program set up and not just wait for the water heater to burst or, the power to go out. Oh, we should have got a generator, those kind of things,